Hello friend, welcome back to Diesel Mercedes channel. I'm going to replace engine oil and filter on this 1987 Mercedes-Benz 300D turbo diesel, which is equipped with the OM603.960 turbo diesel engine. If you are interested how this procedure is done correctly, stay with me in this video. The first step of this engine oil change is to bring the engine oil to the operating temperature. So that helps oil nicely flow out of the engine later. The next step in this procedure is not going underneath the vehicle, but we are actually starting on the engine oil filter housing, which is right here. You can see that this vehicle, this engine, is equipped with the two-piece oil filter cover, and we will start with unscrewing this return pipe. Using 13mm socket, I will unscrew this return pipe. That was tight. Wow. Also pay attention, here is that copper crusher spacer right here, so don't lose that. And I will nicely, slowly pull it out, trying to minimize the spills, and put it here in my pan. Once again, I said here is that copper crusher. I will continue with unscrewing oil filter cover retaining nuts. There are two of them. Second is here, and there are also 13mm socket, and that allows me to lift the cover. Again, I'm paying attention to the details. Here we go. Now, there was supposed to be gasket here sitting, but actually the gasket is still on top of the housing, so I'm carefully removing this rubber gasket. Now, if you have at home the suction device to remove the engine through the dipstick, this will be time to go for it. I don't have one on the hand, so I will be going right now underneath the vehicle. While getting underneath the vehicle, some of you will have to start with removing engine protective cover. Mine is missing, so I will just continue from here. The really good news is that my engine oil catching pan fits underneath the vehicle without raising the front, so that's one more thing to skip. And using 13mm again, I will loose that engine oil pan plug. Again, pay attention, there is the crusher below the bolt, so make sure you catch that. Oh yeah, here we go. And it's nicely flowing in the pan. And while the oil is nicely flowing out of the engine oil pan, I'm coming back up here, working on replacing that filter element. And I'm going to pull this filter element out. It's pretty easy, trying to minimize the oil spills. So I have a rag there, here is another catching container. Oh, that was very good. Here is the quick look inside of the oil housing, and we are ready for the new oil filter. I'm going to use this MAN filter, German product. Let's see what is inside. So this is awesome. This is the main gasket, two crushers, and the oil container. It's very easy, you cannot put it upside down because this goes down, and you know the handle is on the top, so I will carefully introduce it inside. making sure it's all the way down there, which is right now. I will install new gasket on this cover after I cleaned everything perfectly. This is gasket as a sealer, and it will be not spinning, so I don't have to put any oil on it. This is the way I will install it. So I will install this cover while paying attention that the gasket stays in the place and I don't pinch it somewhere. But I can feel it, it's good. And once again, yes, this is correct. So I'm putting back these two nuts, which I will start by hand only. Then I will use the socket, but still by the hand, and we going from side by side because I want that cover sit down evenly. And I will torque these two nuts to 25 Newton meters. Okay, that's all what it takes. 25 Newton meters. Now comes part which is very often overlooked. If you look in this area, you will find the hole on this oil tube, and this is oil port. You absolutely have to make sure there's not some foreign matter in it, and that the oil can nicely flow in that mini hole and through entire pipe and out here. If that will be not flowing, it will be, the passage will be blocked. You will have to replace the whole tube. The second important thing is check these two rubber O-rings. They don't come, unfortunately, with the filters. I don't know why. And you have to visually inspect them, that they are okay, they are not cracked or broken. It's really important for the function of that oil filter. That new oil filter came with two crushing washers. The small one doesn't fit anything. It doesn't fit the bolt from the oil pan and doesn't fit on this tube. So I cannot use that. And I will save this one for the oil pan bolt. So as you remember, there was one of these crushers here. I believe it was mistakenly installed there, but I will still put it there just for fun. I will reuse one of those which is in the better condition. So I will put it there and use it. I will slightly lubricate these two O-rings with some remaining oil, just a little bit. And I'm ready to install it inside of the housing. So again, pay attention to the detail, nicely, carefully, and here we go. And the torque on this oil pipe, it's again 25 Newton meters. I will install new crusher washer on my oil pan bolt. I came underneath the car to check if the oil is still dripping. I can see it's still draining and dripping, so I think it's time to go take a nap. The oil stopped dripping, so I'm ready to install that bolt back in the oil pan, including that new crusher washer. This bolt, it's a M14 metric thread, so I will torque it 30 Newton meters. That's it. Here you can see nicely how the oil was dirty. It was definitely time to change it. We've got a new oil ready, so we are ready to start filling the engine with the new oil. So I will pull the dipstick out, clean it, right? Put my funnel into the dipstick and start filling the engine with the new oil. What? You are screaming no? I was just kidding. I was just checking if you are not sleeping. Of course we are not filling engine through the dipstick, but through the valve cover. this is where we will be pouring that new oil. So I have here that 1 gallon. I have a really good funnel and I can start pouring it nicely into the engine. Now I'm using here Castrol GTX diesel oil. It's a 15W40. I selected it because it was reasonably priced, and this engine, the 603, doesn't have such a high requirements like an engine which came after it, the OM603. So I'm not very stressing about using Mobil 1 synthetic oil, which doesn't actually belong in this engine, and I'm using diesel quality engine oil, like for example this Castrol. Now the question, very important, is how much of the oil? Well, this engine, when you do the engine oil change and you replace the engine oil filter, takes approximately 7.5 quarts of the engine oil. So I was able to keep pouring this 1 gallon without even checking the level with the dipstick. Because I know I can pour up to 6 quarts without checking the oil level. I will check it anyway, just to be sure. So I put a dipstick in and pull it out. And yes, I can see it's not even touching yet. But now I'm definitely starting paying attention, and I will go ahead and pour in the engine only 1 quart. Going to check the dipstick, and I bet you the oil is already touching it. Let's see how much. Okay, so it's all the way on the red, which is touching the minimum. I will pour another half quart. I will close the valve cover here with the cap. And this is first time I'm ready to go and start the engine. While starting the engine, I will pay close attention to the engine oil pressure. I want to see it up. Okay, that's good. It's already on the full on the 3. And I will let the engine run for a while to warm up and spread the engine oil through entire engine. Will also immediately go and jump underneath the vehicle, check if I don't have any leaks there. I will let the engine idle for approximately 1 minute and then I will shut it off. Now I have to wait for at least 5 minutes to get correct final measurement on the level. And I already did all my measurements and adding the oil to the final level. I brought the oil right below this max mark, and looking on the jug here, I have remaining only half of this container, and the 1 gallon it's 4 quarts, so basically that's what it tells me, that this engine took 7.5 quarts of the oil. And now I have to go and write down the actual mileage, because under normal driving conditions this engine is good to go for another 5,000 miles. I hope you did enjoy the simple video, and please subscribe because I have way more videos coming your way. Thank you for your time and have a wonderful day.